Good afternoon. This is training video number 4, and we are going to build a quote for Carnival. And this is going to be an individual stateroom. So we're going to come over here. I'm already logged in to Carnival Cruise Lines, and we're going to come over here to where it says Create Booking, an individual stateroom. And I'm going to click on that. And then it's going to give you the option to do 90 days search, which means, from the starting date to the end date, you can have 90 days. I generally don't look that far in advance, but I'm going to go over here to the end of May of next year of 2019, and then just go all the way out to July. Well, let's go to the end, first part of August. And then let's say they're going to go to the Caribbean, and they're going to go out of Galveston. Make sure you find out if they are wanting to go out of Galveston or New Orleans, or if it matters. A lot of people in the Texas, Oklahoma, and New Mexico locations want to drive to the port, so they want to go to Galveston. People in Arkansas, parts of Oklahoma, and parts of Texas would rather go to New Orleans because it's not that far for them. So find out about that. If you're unsure of the days, I don't click on any of that. And I come down here. When you get more familiar with the rate codes and stuff, that's where you can go in there, but I generally don't mess with it. And let's select the number of travelers. If you see, on almost all of the cruises that Carnival has, 5 is the max that you can have in a room unless you upgrade to a much larger suite. And that is a case-by-case scenario of if they have anything available. You cannot book it online. You have to contact them to see if they have something available. And most of the time, what you would have to do is, if you have a family of like 6, like my family is a family of 6, we have to get 2 staterooms and get them next to each other, and then have me listed on one of the staterooms and my husband listed on the other, so that we have room for everybody. And then you want to make sure they're connecting rooms, whereas with us, we have small children, so they have to be connecting because we can't leave the little ones by themselves, but you need to have somebody, an adult, assigned to that room. So we are out of Texas, and let's just say down here, I have cruised before, but my husband has not. I have cruised with Carnival Cruise Line, so that's where this comes in, is your VIFP number. I don't know the number off the top of my head, so I'm going to go over here to look up. This is something you need to ask your clients when they're interested in going on a cruise, is if they've cruised, if they have, who they've cruised with, get their first and last name, their legal name, and their birthday. For me, it's Melissa DeFever. My birthday is December 9th, 1978. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to press search. Yep, that's me. I'm going to press accept. It's went ahead and it's already entered in my information. It's saying I'm at a VIFP level red, which means you haven't cruised very much. The more times they cruise with a specific cruise line, their availability on certain packages come available to them, better rates, better offers for returning customers. So you see over here, this is where it gives us the list of dates. You can scroll down. If I'd have chose a larger date or more of a selection of filters, it could be longer, it could be much shorter than this. I didn't click on a specific amount of dates, so there's everything from 4 days on here, 5 days, 7, 8 days. Sometimes you'll see one for like the Panama Canal, and that's a 14-day, and that's a Journeys cruise. When you're looking over here at the days, keep in mind that this is the amount of days, not the amount of nights. So if it's 8 days, it's 7 nights. If it's 7 days, it's 6 nights. If If it's 5 days, it's 4 nights, and so on. This right here says the Eastern Caribbean. This is for 8 days. You can click on that, and this tells you all of the ports that they'll be hitting. So for the Eastern Caribbean for 8 days, they're going to Key West, Freeport, Half Moon Cay, Nassau, and then back at sea, and then back to Galveston. So over here, and then your Western for 7 day. Click on that. Mahogany Bay, Belize, Cozumel. And then like if you go over here to where it's just a 4 day, you're just going to Cozumel. Go click on a 5 day, see what the difference is. You're going to Cozumel and the Yucatan. So the choices are endless. And then over here on the right hand side, you'll see where some of them will say Cozumel Plus, or there won't be anything available, and then some of them will say like a Journeys. I can't remember if it's just Journeys or if it says something Journeys, but the Journeys is more intricate, where they get to experience different types of food. That's one. The Journeys is like the 14-day cruise, but the Cozumel Plus is where they are in port. No, I don't want to watch that. Is where they're in port for I think 2 to 3 hours longer than when they are not on a Cozumel Plus. That means that they're just there for a longer period of time. So versus leaving at 2 or 3 in the afternoon, they're leaving I think at 5. So let's go over here, and let's look at May 27th at Galveston for 5 days. We're going to select. And as you become more familiar with all of this, you can practice with all of it. But go over here, and this is where you have your rate codes. A lot of times when a client tells you, when you've built them a package and they say, well, I've got this, package and that I created or was emailed to me, and it was for $200 cheaper and all of that, and you say, hey, just send that to me or screenshot the thing, the package to me, and I can get it built for you, and if I can't find that, then I'll call Carnival. And what you can do is you go in there and you look at the rate code. But if you look over here, all of the rate codes have starting prices that vary. You go over here to where this one is a Fun Select. A lot of times the Fun Select will have like third and fourth guest at half price. This one doesn't. Its upgrades may apply, which means they get a better room for the same price. So let's go over here. Let's look at Fun Select. This says the Guest Select Stateroom. This is very important because a lot of people complain that if you choose a rate code that is cheaper, and they have to wait till they get to the ship to find out what the room is. A lot of times it's not going to be the best type of room. They're going to be usually in the back of the ship, at the bottom of the ship. They're going to feel more of the motion than they would anywhere else. So that's something to keep in mind. You get 2 category upgrades automatically, which means that if they choose a balcony 4A, they're automatically going to be upgraded to a balcony 6A. That means it's in a better location. Going down here to the early saver. This is something you need to look at. Yes, this room is a little over $100 cheaper, but if you look, it says $50 per person, fee assessed per ship sale date made prior to final date. Cancellations prior to final date will receive future cruise credit for deposit amount less the $50. So that means if for some reason they have to cancel, they're not getting that deposit back, and it'll be used for future cruise credits, but they're not going to get it back. So that's something they need to know about, or it can fall back on you. There's more information in here. Verified rate difference issued at non-refundable onboard credit. Some of these are just really, really good deals, and they all change all the time. So what it says for this cruise on the PNS rate code may have some variable differences in it on another cruise. So you need to look at them each time you select it, because it's not going to put all that information down on the booking or on the quote. So that's something you need to have and you need to know. This one says refundable deposit subject to cancellation penalty. So if they cancel within a certain time frame, they're not going to get it back. So you need to look into that. For this one, it offers capacity control, which means we can select this one now. And let me look to see if it says anything on here. Offer is available in cabin assignment categories only. Offer bookings made as part of group will include amenities. And it's not saying anything about us selecting their room. I always select their room unless they tell me they want the absolute cheapest rate, and then I let them know. By doing that, I can get them a really good deal, but I have no idea where they're going to be placed on the ship. So the casino rate, promotional deposit is non-refundable for first and second guest only. So keep in mind, this right here is a cheaper deal than all of these rooms right here. But that deposit, whatever it is, whether it's $50 or if it's $200 or $400, for each person, the first and second guest, that deposit is going to be non-refundable. That's something the client needs to know if this is something you choose. So let's just go up here and no upgrades apply. So I'm going to just choose this one here. Refundable deposit. Okay, all right, that's the one I want. All right, we're going to look over here and we're going to see, the prices go up. The prices go up, even though these right here are all interior rooms. As the letter in the alphabet goes up, the better location of the room. They're all going to have the same thing to offer. But it boils down to location and the capacity. Some of them are smaller. If you see this 6B and 6C, there's not much difference in the price. This one, you can only have 2 people in the room, so it's a little bit smaller room. Whereas this one, you can have 4. Even though this is a balcony room, you're going to pay a big difference. But this family isn't going to qualify for it because it's at a capacity of 2. But let's just go over here and, or I may have just clicked on for 2 people. I don't remember. So let's go over here and let's just get an ocean view room. Now, on some of these, you need to look at, and because the ocean view, it will let you know if it's a room that has could have a partially obstructed view. Oh, we got to select on the. Okay, do we want to upgrade? This lets you know that if you want to get a junior suite, it's $441.20, not $441.20. Total, it's more per person per day. That can add up quite significantly. Per person per day. We're going to say no thank you. Okay. It doesn't have anything for us to choose there. So now we're going to go back up here to the category. And let's see. And there's times where I run into this a lot where it just has to do with the rate code. So right now it's looking like it's the rate code. So let's just go with the early saver. And let's look at getting them an ocean view room. Nope, we don't want to upgrade. Okay. I lived on a ship when I was in the Navy, and I can tell you from experience, the best place to be on the ship is in the middle of the ship or in the front of the ship. I do not like being in the back of the ship because you feel more of the motion back there. I don't like what's available here, so I'm going to go back up on the category. And let's see what's available. Oh, we went over here to Ocean View. Let's see what's available under 6M. No, thank you. Okay, now I'm seeing some midship. And I don't know why it is, but I just prefer to be on the starboard side. So, but this right here also, if you click on the room, this will let you know what deck and a view of what the room looks like. Some of the cruise lines is an actual picture of that room type. This is a digital picture of what the room would look like. You can see the one thing you want to look at when you're doing an ocean view room is if it's an obstructed view. Now, instead of pressing close, if you just press the X right there, it will come up with the ship so that you can see it, and then you can zoom in on it and find what room number it is. And you can enter that in up here. So let's say we're just going to go over here because I like the starboard side, which if you're not familiar with ships, midship is the middle of the boat. Forward is the front of the boat. Aft is the back end of the boat. Starboard is your right. Port is your left. So if you're facing the front of the ship and you're on the ship, starboard is your right hand. Port is your left hand. Okay, so we're going to choose room 1305. Now, when you're building a quote for somebody and you don't have all of their information and you just have, like, you know, the one person that's called or contacted you, and they've make sure when they're telling you, you know, we've got 2 kids that are going on this, you find out what the kids' birthdays are or what their age will be when at the time of sailing. So let's say Mr. Joe Dirt. I used to put John Doe, January 1st, 1980, and that's what I kept using for a long time. And finally, a few months ago, Carnival security called me, and I didn't understand what the big deal was. I'm also adding vacation protection on there. I let them know that we can take that off, but I recommend it be on there because anything can happen to where you have to cancel last minute for a family emergency, death in the family, loss of job, something that would qualify under insurance. But anyways, they contacted me about this John Doe. Make sure you add the vacation protection for everybody. And we're going to do early dining, and yes, we want to add gratuities on there. But they contacted me about it, and I couldn't figure out what the big deal was, and they told me, you know, that guy, you know, he's not allowed to sail with them, and it's like, you don't understand. John Doe doesn't exist, and they just did not think it was funny or anything like that, and then I just thought it was hilarious. Well, then I got a phone call a couple hours later from another lady with security, and I told her, you know, I've already got a phone call about this. I don't understand what the big deal is. You know, this is the name I throw in there for just mock-ups that I'm building. And she's like, yes, I understand that, but this guy's really not allowed to sail, and he's on our list. And I was like, yeah. I was like, but I'm entering January 1st, 1980 as his birth date, you know. And she's like, yes, ma'am, that's why it's pertinent that you quit doing that, because that is John Doe's real name, and that is his real birthday, and he is not allowed to sail on the cruises. And I was like, oh my gosh. So, okay. So now we have a cruise. Do not press yes or confirm booking. We want to go through, and we're going to copy this. Because if you press confirm booking and you don't know if they're actually going to take this cruise or not, it takes that spot. And if that's done enough times, we will start being feed for it, because you're taking potential spots of bookings. So now what we're going to do is, let me get out of here. And I've taken that, and all of you will get a copy of this sent to you. Now, if you notice, you can't read everything over here. I'm assuming most of you would be familiar with Word, but if you're not, just go over here to Layout, go to Orientation, press Landscape, and voila. Now you've got the names, when the cruise is, what the cost is, what the deposit is, and all of that. Okay, now I don't need that. Then you would come up here and you would click Save As. Not Save, because then that takes, you won't have this in your to use anymore, but if you click Save As, and we're going to leave this one and do test quote, and we're going to move it to desktop, or no, I got a folder for it, hold on. It's not showing up. So we'll leave it at desktop, and we'll press save. Okay, then I can exit out of here. It's telling me I need to update my stuff. All right, and then I'm going to come down here. I'm going to go back to my quote. If you notice, I never exited out of it. Under my quote, or in my rate. Oh, come on. Now I'm going to go back over here. Anyways, that's where I would go, and I would copy that and put that in there. And then I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to copy this. Right click, copy. And I'm going to make this smaller. Where do I have it at? Test quote right there. Right click on it, paste. Let me see if it'll let me do it now. No. Okay. But anyways, this would give you all of your information. Then you would click save. And then you would go to your email. You would go to add it, desktop, test quote, put it in there, and then to whoever you're sending it to. And then this is what I generally put in all of mine. This is a new email, so there's no signature or anything like that on there, so just ignore all of that. But Dear Joe Dirt, this package includes gratuities and insurance, but neither are I just dropped that. Okay, neither are required. Sorry about that. But neither are required, but are recommended. Sorry, my spelling's off today, but are recommended. Let me know what your thoughts are. And then I would send it, and that's what I would be in there to send them. And then I would generally create 3 more bookings, and then I put them in the itineraries. And then you do the same thing for when you finally book it. And if you were going to book it, then you would click this, and you would click confirm booking, and then it would have to where you can go in and do a payment for the deposit and all of that, but we're not going to do that. And that concludes our building a quote for Carnival. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact me or put it on our Facebook page for the Honeybee Travel Agency Beehive group. It's the HBTA Beehive is what the group is called. Talk to you later. Have a good day.